Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast. My name is Amir. Thanks for listening to the podcast on Spotify, and thank you for subscribing to the channel on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube currently, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. So, the Miami Heat lost again to the Boston Celtics. They are now down 3-1 in the best of 7 series, and the Miami Heat lost 102 to 88, which is super unfortunate because I was at the game, flew to Miami for both games 3 and 4. Both games were blowouts. Super unfortunate. Story of the year, the Miami Heat just have struggled offensively and have not been a good offensive team all year. With the injuries, obviously they're super undermanned. So that's the story of the year. Also, having Drew Smith out for the year, Jay Rich, Jimmy Butler missed a ton of games as well. Kevin Love, Tyler Hero obviously only played 42 games. So the story of the year for the Miami Heat is injuries. The Heat were missing Jimmy, their best player, Terry Rozier, possibly their third best player, and Duncan Robinson played 3 minutes. So he's obviously injured. He has the facet syndrome in his back, so he's not been the same. And yeah, the Miami Heat are severely lacking talent against one of the most, or if not the most talented team and the best regular season team in the NBA. And it's been tough to watch. And again, the Miami Heat, going back to their offensive woes during the regular season, they were the 21st ranked offensive rating team. They were 25 at one point midway through the season. They were 27th in points per game. And so even when they had Tyler and Jimmy and Terry and Love and everybody else healthy sporadically throughout the season, they were still poor on the offensive end. So defense has traditionally been the Miami Heat's identity, and it was this year as well. They were the fifth defensive rated team in the NBA, and so a lot of games that they won was because their defense was stopping opponents from outscoring them essentially. So yeah, tough loss. 88 points in a playoff game is terrible. The Miami Heat losing both home games after splitting the series 1-1 with that incredible road win in game 2 is horrible. The Miami Heat have not won a playoff game in Miami in 6 games. So they've lost the last 6 dating back to last season when they played against the Celtics and against the Denver Nuggets. So that's unfortunate. Like anytime they're at home, and this season they've been an underdog. They're 0-11 now, including the regular season. So they were like a 11-point underdog going into that game yesterday, which is better than 14-point underdogs and 15, which is what they were in Boston for games 1 and 2. But yeah, this Miami team is just not good enough offensively. And again, one of the main reasons is because our best player is out and Terry Rozier's out and Duncan Robinson's hurt and Kevin Love has been unplayable according to Spo for some reason in this series. So desperately missed his rebounding, his passing, his 3-point shooting. But yeah, just 88 points, not great. They scored 84 in the game before at game 3, which is terrible. They had 12 points in the first quarter in game 3. And in game 4 last night, they had 12 points in the second quarter. So you can't win an NBA playoff game against one of the best teams in the NBA when you score only 12 points in a quarter. But what else can we expect? Patty Mills and DeLon Wright played 50 minutes combined off the bench, 2 buyout candidates. That just shows you the injuries that we have. All of our depth, which was our strength, is gone. So super unfortunate. Can the Miami Heat shock the world and win another game and keep it competitive? Possibly. Would it be on brand if the Miami Heat go into Boston and win a game and come back and lose game 6 in Miami to go 0-7 in their last 7 games at Miami in the playoffs? Very possible. But I don't know. I said Miami Heat were going to lose to the Celtics in 5 before the series started because Jimmy Butler was out, because Terry Rozier was still out. I didn't know he was going to miss the whole series. But when you don't have your best player, what can you expect? It's really tough. But if we had even Terry Rozier playing and Duncan Robinson healthy, this Heat series would be way more competitive, in my opinion. Not saying they could win it, but I feel like they would have had a better shot in those last few games, especially at home with Terry and Duncan. Um, but yeah, I don't even know if Jimmy Butler, if he was healthy, we would still be able to beat this Boston Celtics team. People think that he could possibly, which I think is a little crazy. I mean, it's not impossible. Nothing's impossible, but it's very improbable because the Celtics were the number one offensive team in the NBA and the number two defensive team in the NBA. And you can see their top heaviness, their depth there. They're more talented than this Miami Heat team. Again, even if we had Jimmy and Terry, like it'd still be really hard, but it would have been way, way more competitive if we had Jimmy, Terry, and Duncan healthy. So it just sucks. This Miami Heat team is always injured every year. Um, it sucks that their offense has not been great in the past few seasons. Outside of game two, where the Heat shot 50 something percent, made 23 threes, franchise record. In the three games, game one, three, and four, they've shot 20% from three. So not good enough. Um, honestly, like that's way below average. Their average, I think they're shooting like 34%, 35 as a team. So, even if they shoot average, then they have a shot to win that game. They made a nice comeback and I mean, they're down pretty much. It felt like 20 the entire game, but um, they were down by 13 with like 5 or 6 minutes to go. And there's that controversial flagrant foul that Bam Adebayo got on Jason Tatum when Derek Wright was fouled by Patty Mills above the break. He got pushed, and then Jason Tatum was going to take a practice shot, and Bam kind of put his hand up to block it, and then touched him, and Tatum tweaked his ankle um, on Bam's foot. So then that killed all momentum. They got two free throws. Then they hit a three, I believe. So they went like on a 5 or 6-0 run to take it back up to 19, 20 points. That was the ball game. But either way, I don't think the Heat were going to come back. Again, offensively, when you're relying on Haywood Highsmith to create offense for you off the dribble, then you're in trouble. Jaime Jaquez got injured. What a surprise there. Didn't play the fourth quarter. Derek White was the story of the game. Derek White destroyed the Miami Heat. Absolutely destroyed the Miami Heat. 38 points, career high, which is a joke. I mean, he's a really good player. I do like him. He would be a great player on this Miami Heat team. But 38 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 15 for 26 from the field. He had 26 shots. 8 for 15 from three, 3 blocks. Blocked Tyler a couple times. Really good defensive player. But he had more points than Tatum and Brown combined. Tatum had 20, Brown had 17. So put that into perspective. That's game. That's all she wrote right there when Derek White is scoring 38 points on you on the road, man. It's just embarrassing, honestly. I mean, he's a good player, but that good? I don't think so. And Celtics fans relishing at the game, talking crap, and we're shorthanded. So it's kind of comical to me that like you're so excited to be beating the 8th seed as the number 1 seed, and we don't have our best player. That's like if they didn't have their number 1, that's Jason Tatum, and if they didn't have their number 3, I would think it would be Drew Holiday as their third best player, but he hasn't been playing like it in this playoffs. They don't need him to, but Derek White has been their third best player. So like imagine the Celtics not having those two plus whoever their equivalent to a Duncan Robinson is. I'm not going to say I think Hauser's obviously a great 3-point shooter, but he can't put the ball on the floor and distribute and do what Duncan has been able to do. But let's just say they don't have Hauser, who didn't even really play this last game. Like the story would be completely different if we had a full team. Like it's just the reality of this Miami Heat team is that we're always injured and the offense isn't great. But yeah, I mean, is the series over? Yes, of course it is. Like, do I think the Miami Heat can come back? Is it impossible? No. But is it probable? Definitely not. I said Celtics in 5. I assume they're going to win. Kristaps Porzingis got hurt yesterday as well. I think it was like a non-contact injury. I don't know what it is. I think it was his foot or ankle. And he might not play, but still, even without Porzingis, they still have a lot of firepower. So yeah, it's unfortunate for this Miami Heat team. It's been a rough season, and there's got to be some changes that the Miami Heat need to address this offseason, whether that's making a big trade and going after a Donovan Mitchell type player, maybe a Dame, maybe a KD. KD seems disgruntled with the way the Phoenix Suns offense played around him. Who knows? Maybe he requests a trade. Or are we going to make small moves and build around Bam, Tyler, Hawkes, and Jovic, and then make some marginal moves and get some upgrades at the four backup center, um, like inject some youth and size and athleticism into the lineup. I think would be helpful right now. We'll see what happens. I'm just, really upset, sad that the Miami Heat lost both games. I was hoping they could really split one. After that game 2 victory, I believed that the Heat could keep it competitive. I guess I was being naive at that point. But yeah, it's funny. Heat Nation, on Twitter, lots of fans that probably still believe they're delusional that this Heat can somehow extend the series. And there's more real fans there. That realize that this team just isn't good enough, and we need to make some changes this offseason, whether they're big or small. Um, you simply can't win championships as a seventh or eighth seed. You got to take the regular season more serious. You take games more serious in the regular season. Who knows? Jimmy Butler doesn't get hurt in a playing game because we're the sixth seed and we're not in the playing tournament and we're playing the Bucks. And even the Bucks got screwed, which is unfortunate. Dame has his Achilles issue. Giannis hasn't played a single game, and the Pacers are up 3-1. So cakewalk for the Pacers and Celtics, more so for the Pacers, I would say, because Jimmy is obviously not as good as Giannis. But yeah, you just got to take the regular season serious, and you can't win as an eighth seed. Like, as delusional as Miami Heat fans think they are, that we can make this run and actually win. If we were to somehow, if we were healthy and got to the finals again, thinking that we could beat anybody in the West, I think is crazy, especially the Nuggets, who we don't match up well against, or even not the Thunder. Thunder are good too, obviously, but T-Wolves, Anthony Edwards has been playing amazing. And you could see his, like, what is it, third year, fourth year. You could see that rise, and he's taking the next step. And, next year he could be owning the league. But yeah, I've said it before in past videos. 7th seeds, 8th seeds have never won. Only one 4 seed has ever won. That was the Rockets. Only one 6 seed, or excuse me, I think that was the Celtics. 6 seed Rockets won once. If you're not a top 3 seed, you don't win. Barring injuries, you don't win. Like, top teams like the Celtics, like the Nuggets, like the T-Wolves this season, typically win because they're the dominant best teams in the regular season. That translates to the playoffs usually. So anyway, I think that's all I have for this video. So the Heat play Wednesday against the Celtics in Boston. Let's see if this could be a dogfight. And the Heat always love to say, when we have our backs against the wall, that's when they fight, and sometimes persevere. So let's see if they can extend the series. I'm sure some Heat fans don't want us to win and just want to be put out of our misery, but I want to win. I don't ever root against the Miami Heat. So you never know. I mean, Jason Tatum rolled his ankle. I mean, Porzingis could be out. I mean, you never know. They could be screwed with the injury bug all of a sudden. And it could be a competitive series. Not saying I want that to happen, but you never know. So I'm rooting for the Heat. I'm never going to root against the Heat. I want to watch more Heat basketball. I don't want the season to end. I don't want to wait till October 20th or whatever the regular season starts to watch another Heat game. So anyway, that's all I have for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hope you have a good one.